This is a video recording for Chapter 6 Part 2 on angles and parallel lines. For the first part, we will be touching on parallel lines. So when two lines on the same plane do not intersect, they are called parallel lines. You have learned this in your primary school already, so we also use this symbol in secondary school to represent is parallel to. So in the blank below, draw two lines that are parallel. You will need set square and a ruler for this. The next part, when a line intersects two other lines, this line that intersects the other two lines is called a transversal of those two lines. So there are three pairs of angles that can be formed by a transversal line. So the diagram will look like this. Here I have a pair of parallel lines. This particular line that I just drew is known as the transversal. So the pairs of angles will be our corresponding angles. In this example, these two angles, they are corresponding angles. They have a relationship which we will explore later on. The next pair of angles will be our alternate angles. So in this diagram, these two are examples of a pair of alternate angles. And finally, for the third one, we have interior angles. An example will be these two angles. They are known as interior angles. So in question 4, we will try and familiarize ourselves with these three types of angles. The first that we have will be corresponding angles. In this example, angle C and angle F. These two angles, they have the same size. They are corresponding to each other. They are equivalent to each other. We look out for the letter F. Okay, from the alphabet, as long as we can see this shape, then these two angles, they are known as corresponding angles. So besides angle C and angle F, we also have angle A corresponding with angle D. In this case, the letter F is shown here. It is upside down. It's an upside down F. Okay, with these two angles as the corresponding angles. The next set of angles we'll be looking at are alternate. So for alternate angles, we try and look out for the letter Z over here, where these two lines are parallel. So this angle and this angle, they are equivalent in size, and we call them alternate angles. In this example, our letter Z can be found here. So angle C and angle D. That is one pair of alternate angles. We have another pair of alternate angles, which are angles B and E. The letter Z is found here. So this angle and this angle. The third pair are interior angles. So we will be looking out for the letter U, where these two are the parallel lines. This is the transversal, and these two angles are interior angles. In this example, the letter U is over here, although it is rotated. Okay. So angle C, angle E. Finally, we also have angle B and angle D. Sometimes you will need to use these properties to help us solve for unknown angles. And instead of writing these as the reasons, which is quite a lot of things to write, we use abbreviations to help us shorten the amount of things that we have to write. So corresponding angles are always equal. So looking like this, looking out for the letter F, these two angles, A and B, they are equal to each other. So whenever we call this property, we'll be writing this as our reason, CORR for corresponding angles with a comma. Then we state after the comma that there are a pair of parallel lines. There is a pair of parallel lines. So the next one, alternate angles. So alternate angles, they tend to be found when there is a letter Z looking like this. So this angle A and B, they are equal also. When we call this property, we will write the abbreviation ALT for alternate angles with a comma, then we include parallel lines. For point number 3, interior angles, A and B. Now, A and B are quite clearly different from each other, but there is still a relationship. The relationship is that these two interior angles, A and B, they are supplementary. And as shown in the earlier set of notes, supplementary means that the two angles add up to 180 degrees. So in other words, A plus B equals to 180 degrees. And whenever we use this relationship, we need to write down the reason. And the reason is interior angles, parallel lines.